Oh, it is another swelterer. It's like 32 today. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's actually Wednesday. I'm not normally up here on a Wednesday, but supposedly the weather's going to break tonight and it's going to be all doom and gloom and thunderstorms and all sorts for like the next 3 days. So I thought I'd come up and enjoy it while I could. First task though is to just crack on with what we were doing at the end of last week's video, which was planting stuff out. This morning, so today, Wednesday, is the last day of July, believe it or not. It's going to be August tomorrow. So this morning I was going through all the seed packets and stuff and looking at what I want to get sown for August. So we're starting to look at stuff for next spring and the stuff that we're going to be eating over winter, stuff that's going to be growing either outside over winter or things that we want to get into the polytunnel. So all that stuff is going to start in August. So I was going through all my seed packets, but I've still got stuff in seed trays in the greenhouse that need to go out. So I've got another clear bed just at the bottom here, and I'm going to plonk a load of stuff out as first task today. Luckily, the shade is just starting to come over that bed as well, so I might not die. First task, I've got to prep this bed. So Mum cleared this over the last week or so. We had quite a lot of chicory that have bolted. We've still got one in there which is good to eat. But yeah, so she has raked this to within an inch of its life and it's ready to go. Now we've unfortunately come up this morning to a bit of drama on the badger front, which I will show you in a minute, but it means that normally I would be putting obviously the 2 bags of this, but I don't know if you remember last week I was saying that the bed that I planted up, I only put 1 bag in because I wanted the small seedlings to be able to get their feet actually into the soil rather than having to go through mulch, which is too airy for them. Well, I've ummed and ahed about whether I'm actually going to put this on because all of the beds that have been attacked by the badgers are the ones with the mulch on, because obviously the worms are under there and loving it, whereas in this, where we haven't got anything on it, it's just dust, no worms. Or at least the badgers aren't interested in these beds, but in the long run it's better to put this on. So I'm going to do that and then we're going to cover it like we did that other bed. The problem is that covering for badgers is almost impossible in terms of if there's something they really want in there, say like beetroot or sweet corn or something, it is so difficult to keep them off. But if you're just trying to dissuade them and what they're after is just worms and they could dig in another more easily accessible location, you've got a bit of a chance. But yeah, so we're just going to cover with netting and hope really that they stay off. Little buggers. And before I leave today, I'm going to re-citronella the edge of the entirety of the plot. I know there's going to be thunderstorms tomorrow and for the next couple of days though, which obviously is going to render that somewhat useless, but you never know. It might just deter them enough. Also, maybe they don't want to come out in the thunderstorms. So the thunderstorms themselves might deter them. Who knows? I can be optimistic on that front. But yeah, so the bed that they got was the bed at the very top, which is where I planted the new Taunton Dean kale. Miraculously, they didn't actually turf the Taunton Dean out. It was some of the other stuff that they dug up. It's possible that it's going to survive. The problem is that, you know, not 24 hours, but a couple of hours out of the ground when it's not boiling hot, things can survive. You know, you can just tuck them back into the soil and they'll be all right. But it's been so hot that, you know, they've come out of the soil and then just been baked. So I think at least half of them will be fine. So it's not complete doom and gloom. It's not complete. Oh, and the other thing they dug out was the pumpkins. But all of them look like they've survived apart from one, and I happen to have some spares in the greenhouse, so we should just be able to infill that gap and then hope they don't come back. I know hope isn't an enormously useful tool in defence, but you know, that's all I got at the moment. Hopes and fears. Also, I'm going to put some lime in the soil at one end. Actually, I might just do the whole bed. Because the things that I'm planting in here, I've got Kailan, which is a oriental style brassica with big fat stems. I have got mustard greens, again a type of turnip, so that is also a brassica. I think I'll just lime the whole bed. Just lime the whole thing, Jessie, don't piddle about. I'm being careful to not stand downwind of this. Well, firstly, you don't want it blowing all over you, but I had a comment last week of somebody whose friend got it in their eye and lost their sight. So let's not be doing that. Okie dokie, I'm going to start with the Kailan, which is the fat-stemmed broccolis. Now they're supposed to be planted out 30 centimetres apart, so it's going to be 3 across a bed. I'll see how far I get. I might not need all of these, that might be a tad excessive. This Kailan I have never grown before, but it's supposedly ready in 10 weeks, believe it or not. So we'll see. We'll see if that is actually true. So I'm actually giving these guys quite a lot of space, whereas you don't have to. I mean, you can use mustard greens as a kind of like a cut and come again, lettucey type, very small leafed thing, and they do have less strong flavour then. But I prefer them cooked. I'm not a great fan of them raw, and they cook up really nicely if you can get a really good strong plant out of them. They'll last all the way into autumn and beyond if we're lucky with the weather. Each plant will get to like, they're absolutely delicious. I mean, I say this every time I plant them because I get a lot of people when I say, oh, I really love mustard greens. They're like, oh, doesn't sound great, does it? but they are absolutely delicious, really, really nice and beautiful. So yeah, I'm hoping you're going to grow up and be beautiful and strong. My ones that I had in the bed next to us, had them in last year. They lasted all the way through until this spring, did the whole winter. I will also be growing some of these in the polytunnel in case we have another one of those winters like we had 2 years ago. So last winter we barely got below freezing. It was such a mild winter, so loads of this stuff just carried on absolutely fine for the whole winter, and we were picking. I mean, it stops growing, but it's still there. And then very, very early spring, the moment you have a couple of sunny days in spring, they're off again, and then you've got another whole load of picking to do. But the year before that, when we got down to, well into the -8 for quite an extended period of time, we lost all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to hedge my bets this year and have some outdoors and get some going in the polytunnel as well, just in case we have another one of them. But I think that fact that we had that really mild winter has also contributed to the slug problem this year. So not only has it been mild, as in not freezing, but it's been wet and grey, and the slugs love it. And they weren't taken out by the cold in the winter. So yeah, secretly I'm hoping for a really cold winter. I want a really lovely extended autumn, so it's beautiful and sunny and all of this stuff comes to fruition, even the stuff that we're really late on. We get loads of tomatoes, and the chilies go on till November, and then we're struck with a really nice cold winter to kill off all the nasties. That's what we want, chaps. Come on. Come on.
That's right, okay. Very pretty pink flowers on it. Now will we get some cable ties and then just thread it through?
Don't think we even need cable ties. We should just be able to bag them.
All right.
So
Not on each end.
yeah. We are just getting to the stage now where some of our figs are starting to ripen. And we don't normally protect the figs. We normally don't have that much of a problem with them, but there seems to be a lot of squirrels going for them this year. We've seen them in the tree. They've already taken one, and they've taken pretty much all of my neighbour's plums that they don't normally do. So this year we're going to try and protect them. And I've just replaced my, I don't even know what you call them, body buffer thing, you know, like a shower, big ball of netting that you use in the shower to wash with, that thing. We're going to try and use that, my old one, to protect the fruit by creating a little bag over each of the fruit as they sort of start becoming to the point where they're going to ripen. Now you can buy these very expensive pre-made bags that look pretty much exactly the same as this. So I've got high hopes. This is a much cheaper option. We're also going to protect some of these long arms full of pears on the pear tree. We have never successfully got any pears off this tree. We've only had it in for, I think, 3 years. So this is potentially our first year for actually getting pears, which is wildly exciting. I know that you have to ripen them off the tree, but they're not quite at that stage yet. And something is already taking the occasional little bite out of these fruits. So hopefully this is just going to keep them on the tree long enough for the right size for us to take them home and ripen them up. I am cautiously optimistic about this. I mean, it doesn't look the best, but you know, it might actually work. Talking about deterring pests, I'll go and show you what happened in the brassica cage last night. As you can see, some looking absolutely fine, some not so much. Hold on, let me take you behind the curtain. No, behind the door. So there is the Taunton Dean kale, still fine, but a couple of the other chaps that were around it were dug out and tossed around, and Mum has replanted everything that came out, but unfortunately none of them are in the places they were in before. So this was in neat, like 3 in a bed rows. That one's now got 5 in it, that one's only got 1. But you know, if they survive, I'm not that fussed about the placement. So annoying. And let me show you the pumpkin that got dug out, because I've actually luckily got another one of them to go in. Let's try and get out of the netting. I'm feeling very hot now, very hot. Oh, I've got beans to pick as well. Beans are coming thick and fast. Actually, plot neighbour like 3 up from us, she and her husband have gone on holiday somewhere. Actually, I don't know where they've gone, but they're away for 2 weeks, and so she's asked us to go and do like watering and stuff, just check everything's all right, but also pick stuff. So picking courgettes and beans and cucumbers and things like that, because if you go away at this time of year, like you leave for 2 weeks and you let things go for 2 weeks, they just stop producing. So you need somebody there to pick them. So we are going to be absolutely inundated with beans, because we've got more than enough of our own, but we've also got all their beans and their courgettes and our courgettes. None of our cucumbers are actually producing anything at the moment, so we're very grateful for their cucumbers. But yeah, we're going to probably be taking courgettes and beans down to the pub and giving them away. Right, here is the pumpkin that has died. These are the mini pumpkins that I put in, the winter squash, all looking fine, 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 not fine. That is this little chap here. I don't know if you remember, it had already been slugged, this one actually. So, oh, can you focus on that? Yeah. So it had actually already had a bit of a tough start to its life, but they've totally finished it off now. So we have a gap there, but I have this one ready to go. So I shall be plonking that one in that hole. The chard that we planted down this strip is also looking really good, apart from this one here, which was also turfed out, although that actually looks like it's coming good again, so I might leave it. Although I've got some spares of those in the greenhouse if that one doesn't survive. So I've got to plant out another whole half bed of chard somewhere, but I'm not really sure where I'm going to do that because we're running out of half beds. I've still got to sow the other 2 chimney wrappers. I've got garlic kale to sow direct. Actually, I tell you what, where I planted that kailan, there's quite a lot of space between them, and things like spring onions, coriander, that kind of thing is going to be so quick growing. I might just do a bit of a sprinkle between them. Oh, Lily, are you a bit hot, love? Are you kaput, Lils? Are you kaput? It's very hot, isn't it? This was on that one to try and protect it, but didn't work, did it? Going to plonk this one in exactly the same spot that the other one was in. I mean, they were spaced out adequately, so I'm not going to shuffle that around. And I'd already put some goodness into the planting hole of the previous chap, so no need to do anything with that. So just go straight into your new home. Okay, look at the Japanese Tokyo, what were they, Tokyo cross turnips have come up an absolute treat under there. We just need these guys to grow up a bit to shade them. Right, I am going to do the citronella spray and hope that keeps the badgers at bay. But look at this. So, you know, I said that we are picking for Jill up the road and watering her stuff. Look at this, already 2 whoppers. She only went away 2 days ago. Stuffed courgettes it is then. Right, where is my citronella? That's the peppermint oil. There is the citronella. I need to order some more of this. Actually, I'm running a bit low. I think I'm going to have to be doing this again in like 2 days' time because, like I say, we've got the storm coming this evening. But I'm doing the whole perimeter of the plot, but also the perimeter of each bed. It lasts longer if you can get it to actually soak into something, so like the wood. So I'm spraying the actual wood of our raised beds in the vague attempt that it's going to linger just a little bit longer. What a frustrating start. So we were up here yesterday, not filming, we're just up here. We had, we're looking after somebody else's plots, so we had to pick a load of their beans and more of our beans because we are absolutely inundated with them. It's just a bit picking for dinner and stuff, but everything was looking perfect. Like that bed in particular, we're just talking about, that's where I sowed all of those Tokyo turnips and they were looking absolutely fantastic. Well, they're not anymore. The only thing is that we've actually come up really quite early this morning and the sun's not out yet, like hasn't burnt off the cloud, which means that they haven't baked, which gives them a better chance of survival. But we're going to go and get them in as the first job this morning, replant that bed, check for any other damage. That's the only bit we saw on the walk down, but they've probably been elsewhere. And yeah, and then I'll get back to you with what we were going to be doing in a mo.
What would you do with that one? This is fairly clear.
Okay, I don't think that one's going to survive. It's split at the base.
This one's okay.
Yeah.
This one looks like where that one's come from.
Well, we've got 4 missing. So they're all from in here.
This one was, yeah, it's still got a bit of root in it.
Oh. All right, that's one for you. What turnips I can rescue. Might be a couple, maybe.
There's some buried under
There is. We've got a couple at that end that look all right. There's 1, 2. So they've got in under the netting here. We're going to have to get some more pegs down, aren't we, to Yeah, they've just gone straight under that, haven't they? Okay, we'll get some serious. We've still got that big box of pegs in there, haven't we? We'll just go pegging mad. Okay, look how good that cabbage is looking.
Well, they're all.
They're all looking great. That's very exciting. Even these red ones have a...
I'm so disappointed if we don't get one of those.
the first
That
red
was
cabbage ever.
The one at the side there is the one that
They've unearthed. Pants. Pants. They've been in here. Well, yeah, we'll have to cover those roots back up again. And here. The aubergines are out again. These poor little chaps. This is the second time these aubergines have been dug out. Not that I have great hopes for them producing any aubergines, but still, that doesn't help, does it? Yeah, they've gone all over this side too. But yeah, I don't think they've actually managed to hoik any of the beans out. Well, that was a more frustrating start to the morning than I was hoping for. Okay, right, well, they're all back in. How many of them are going to survive? I don't know, but at least they've got a chance. I don't think the beans will be too badly affected. They've had their roots unearthed, but they haven't wilted or anything, so I think they've... the sun hasn't really started to bake anything, so hopefully the root balls are all right. Some of those turnips look like they've survived. I think actually there was more turnips just buried than had actually been dug up, so that's one advantage. Particularly the middle section had quite a few that were actually still in place in there. Just unearth them and hopefully they're going to do something, because like I say, we were only just yesterday saying how lovely they looked. I am very sceptical that those winter squash, the pumpkins, are going to survive. I think probably 2 of them will be all right, but the rest of them, like one of the ones that I buried, actually the stem has snapped. I've buried it anyway, like replanted it, because I'm nothing if not optimistic. But yeah, I think we'll find over the next couple of days they're just going to go. But what I did actually come up here to do this morning was to do the last wave really of the summer sowings. So by halfway through to the end of this month, it's now August by the way, by halfway through to the end of this month I'll be starting to sow stuff which is going to be for either over winter or for spring next year. But there's still some things that I want to try and get some life out of for this summer. That includes very last sowing of peas, short peas, some sugar snaps, also peas. I want to get some more spring onions in. Actually, I tell you what, rather than me just desperately trying to remember off the top of my head, I did actually bring all the seed packets up with me, so let me just grab them. That's for late. More of that, more of that, more of that. Last lot of that. Going to try that. Okay, so things that I'm going to get in now is going to be a whole another wave of Pak Choi and Komatsuma, which are the ones that I planted up there last week, planted them out. I'm going to get some more of those in. I've got some garlic kale to try, which is a kale that you eat as a baby leaf, so we should still have plenty of time for that to get going in. I've got this sexy Pak Choi with a red stem. Ooh, isn't that gorgeous? So I'll be getting that one in. Or I'm doing more of the red Pak Choi, which is the one I normally do. I have Mizuna to go in, some radicchio. The last wave of the outdoor coriander will go in now. I will still be growing some, but it will be indoors over winter, you know, like kitchen windowsill style. I've got some more green Mizuna, red Mizuna. Corn salad, I'm going to put some in. I've sown 2 lots of corn salad, you know, like lamb's lettuce, this stuff so far this year, direct sown them, and nothing, not a sausage has come up. So I've got a new seed packet of that, which I'm going to try. Last row of carrots is going to go in. You know, I've been growing the carrots under the carrot bed, under the carrot box, you know, in that bed that's kind of like it's supposed to be a compost bin, but I've turned it into a little carrot bed up at the other end. Well, the first lot of carrots been really, really good. The second lot that we sowed, what was it, about 4 weeks ago, we had quite a lot come up, and then they've just been eaten off. So we've only got about 5 carrots in the row now. So I'm going to try and jimmy some more seed in and hope we've got better luck this time. What else have we got? Oh, that's more Mizuna. And this is something that I'm going to try. A beef and onion tree. Total novelty. It's a tree. I don't know what it looks like, other than obviously I can see the leaves here, but that's just like the tender young shoots. I've never tasted it before, never tried it before, but there is the most intriguing sentence that I've ever read on the back of a seed packet in here, which says, "What is little known about this tree is that you can eat the leaves and they taste exactly like beef and onion crisps." Beef and onion crisps. I love beef and onion crisps. Yeah, it says their young tender leaves can be eaten raw in salads. I don't know if I want beef and onion crisp flavour in my salad, but still. Cooked into stir fries and can also be dried and used as a seasoning. What is not to be excited about trying that? So I'm going to get them in now. It says you can sow them year round, and picking time for like those young crisps between April and June next year. Exciting times, huh? Just a caveat here, sometimes you get stuff when you look at one of these things, it says, oh, it tastes exactly like, I don't know, garlic is often one. They always say, oh, this such and such tastes like garlic, which is something I'm intrigued about actually with the garlic kale. Supposedly it's a soft, tender kale that tastes like garlic. I don't know who tastes these things, because although this one I don't know, this one I don't know. Often you get them like the mushroom plant and stuff when they say, oh yeah, it tastes like mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms have you eaten? Because that doesn't taste like a mushroom to me. Right. I know I'm just rambling here, but talking of things tasting like mushrooms, you know plantains, not the banana type plantain, but like the ones that you get in wild grasses, you know, the ones that we have over here. They've got linear ovate leaves, and then a little head that comes up that looks a bit like a soft mini pine cone, and then when it flowers it kind of gets like a little halo around it. I'll see if I can find some. They've normally got them in the cemetery. I'll go and show you what I mean if you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Jessie? Which I wouldn't blame you for. What am I even going with this? Oh yes, now somebody told me that they taste like mushroom before they've actually opened and flowered, when they're really small like that. Somebody was doing something and they had fried them up in butter and shoved them on a pizza. And so the other day I just actually tried one as I was walking through the cemetery. They were not wrong. It tasted exactly like mushroom, which is what I'm hoping is going to happen with this, but beef and onion crisps. Okay, I better go and fill up some seed trays and get my labels in gear. Same compost mix that I have been using, which is half Silver Grow and half our own compost with a bit of bloodfish and bone. And normally I've got a bit of vermiculite in it, but I've run out. So this is vermiculite free, but that's not for any other reason than lack of. Do you like my impromptu little potting bench? This, you know, we've been doing all the stuff at home, obviously. Well, we're now in the process of doing the clear out, and this has been the shelving unit that we've been sort of storing all the pots and pans and things on in the sitting room. No longer necessary, I'm pleased to say. So it's coming up here, and it is going to be the shelving unit for inside the netting shed. But at the moment it's just lying out here on its side, and it has come in very handy a number of times, not least right now. Almost tempted to just turn it into a table. Actually, I tell you, next to the shed where we've got like the actual potting bench, but I'm a bit like, the potting bench is attached to the side of the shed, and and it's lovely. It's really nice to work on, except that it's right under the trees, and the parakeets have taken to using that as their little toilet branch, the one that's right above the potting bench. So the last 2 times that I have been potting at said potting bench, I have been pooed on. So this is a much safer spot because I'm completely out in the open here. No danger, unless it's obviously a passing by one, which would be funny. Yes. A fly past pooing event. But it's less likely than just sitting underneath a toilet, isn't it? Okie dokie. So I found a couple of other bits and pieces that I want to sow as well while I was prepping this. So there's a bit more beetroot that I want to get in. It's pushing it a bit, like normally July would be the end, but because I'm being so optimistic about what our autumn's going to be like, and we've got the space, I think it's just worth having a go. It's not like it'll be a disaster if it doesn't work. And the thing with beetroot is that you can always eat the leaves. If it doesn't actually form the beetroot, you've basically just got chard. Okie dokie. Right, so, oh, I forgot my labels. Forgot my labels. Right, let's get some Komatsuma in. I've actually got that, the first wave of Komatsuma that we put in, that has been really badly snailed. In fact, I know it's snails rather than slugs because I keep catching them on there. But yeah, I'm going to pick that today and we will take it home with us. Okay, 1 row, Komatsuma. And then we've got 2 types of Pak Choi. This is the standard red one that I always grow. Nice. And then the other Pak Choi, which is a brand new one, which is the vivid one from She Grows Veg. This looks absolutely beautiful. I tell you what though, that red Choi, the reason that I always grow that one is because it's just a joy. Red Joy Choi, in fact. It's funny because the red ones, the red Pak Choi, I can grow the green and the red in the same bed, and the red is faster, or it has been for me up until now. I've always found it faster, and the slugs don't seem to go for it. Not anywhere near like they do the green. So you seem to get a better rate of success with it. We'll see what the red stem one's like. Something that I didn't mention earlier that I'm also going to sow some extra of, She Sows Seeds seed packet, are those fantastic Kohl Rabi Diner. I do love a bit of Kohl Rabi. Story of this year though, the first lot we put in, gone. I know I've said that so many times this year. Oh yeah, well the second wave we put in, well that got slugged, and then, oh yeah, the first one, that got slugged. What the hell was that? Kohl Rabi. Lovely. Next I'm going to put in the garlic kale. I might put in a bit more Bietta, just the standard green chard. It's not too late for chard. It's never too late for chard. No, it is often too late for chard, but not at the moment it's not. We've had a lot of problems, as you saw in that bed earlier with the winter squash with the pumpkins. I've had so much, just unlucky, so much chard dug out this year. If it's not the slugs, it's the foxes, and if it's not the foxes, it's the badgers. Nice. And then in this one, I'm going to put 2 rows of beetroot in. This is Woden. I'm doing the Woden because I did the 2 red beetroots that I've been sowing were this year, just because I had the packets of them, was Woden and Crosby's Egyptian, and in all cases the Woden has grown much stronger than Crosby's Egyptian, so I'm sticking with that. Nice. Now for a little bit of excitement. Are you ready for the beef and onion crisps? I am. Look at these. They're like little triangles. I'll just do 1 in each cell. Now I know that Johanna was quite intrigued by this, also a beef and onion crisp fan. So I reckon lots of people will be interested. I might do all, I might do 8 of them. I'm sure people will be interested. Bit of novelty. One more. I must look up how big they are actually, because if they turn out to be like 40-foot trees. Now the sowing instructions for these beef and onions is actually quite detailed about keeping them above 20 degrees and should take place in 30 days. So I've got to be very patient with these. Beef and onion. And actually, although I've just said I don't know what the trees look like, there's quite a good description on here actually. They sound beautiful. So the full description is: a beautiful tree with really tasty leaves, otherwise known as the Chinese mahogany tree. This deciduous, often multi-stemmed variety has pretty salmon red leaves turning green in summer with white flowers. Sounds absolutely beautiful. And then yeah, germination should be up to 30 days. So, but it could take longer. Maybe I should have not planted them in a tray. Oh well. Oh well. The lesson there is read all the info before you just crack on, but never mind. Okay, let's get some soil on the top of these. And actually, it was beautifully cool this morning when we got up here, but already, as you can see, the sun's out and it is starting to heat up. Got a lot of stuff to do at home today as well, so I'm not going to be up here much longer. I've just got a load of bean picking to do because like 2/3 of my life at the moment seems to consist of bean picking. And then I think we'll head off. Come and get something special. Feed you up a bit. There's going to be so many of you after it today. Do you want the sticks? Yep. Beautiful. Look at that. Good. Got the basket. Do you want me to carry anything in that? That's from safe, is it? It's not going to tip out. Okay. See you later. See you later, girls. Oh, just as we're leaving, I've remembered this is what I mean by the plantain that tastes like mushrooms. So their flowers at this time of year look a bit like this. Can I get it to focus? You see they've got like a little, like a corona of dots around them. But it's not going to focus, but early on in the season, let me back off a bit, they are much smaller. In fact, that looks like it might be one. This is a bit big, really early on in the season. They're much smaller than this, but it's like that you want them to look like. And Cheers, chaps. I have been an absolute motor mouth in this week's video. Sorry about that. When I was editing it, I was like, my goodness. Normally I've got these large chunks that I can just speed up and whiz through. This week I was chatting through the whole thing. You wouldn't believe how much I did end up cutting out. It was 4 hours of me just Yeah, sorry about that. Talking about things that I cut out. So the recipe at the end, or not really recipe, but me making that fig salad at the end, that is going to be a bit of a trial run for a new format, not changing anything to do with the vlogs. But you know, at the beginning of this year, or I think it was at the end of last year, I was really keen to start doing more recipe style stuff, things that I'm picking, and then what I'm actually doing with it, because I speak to so many people who are like, oh, I've had a fantastic crop of, I don't know, cucumbers or beans or anything like that, and they're like, but I don't actually know what to do with them. And there's nothing worse than when you're growing something and you're bringing it home and you just don't know what to do with it other than give it away. So the idea was at the beginning of this year that I was going to do a lot more like what to do with the veg kind of stuff, but then obviously the kitchen drama has been going on for just so long now that it's kind of put a complete stop to that. But now we have got the incredible luxury, the absolute joy of a stable floor and running water and a stove. It is like we've entered the future here. And so the idea is that I'll do a little bit of something in the vlog each week, just like a little, like it was today, just like a little glimpse of what I was doing. And then later in the week, I'll re-edit that footage, or what, like the expanded version of whatever it was we were eating, and put it out as a separate video. So this week there's going to be 2 videos. Now, I don't know whether it's going to come out for my Patreons on the Thursday and then it'll come out for everybody else on the Friday, or whether it'll be Friday for Patrons and Saturday for everybody else, but I will let you know. Obviously, previously incorporating recipes and things into the vlogs, I've experimented with it. I've done some which has been really quite detailed in the vlog, like inserted into the vlog itself, and I've done some which are totally separate, like separate videos. And I think how I'm going to play this as a tester going forward, we'll see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But my idea is a bit like today, where we've just had a bit of a snippet of what I did with the rocket and the figs and the basil, was just how we ate that salad, which kind of it is included in the mood of the week, which is part of the vlog. And then later in the week, I'll release the specific video about that dish or that food that we ate, you know, with a proper recipe in it. And I want to do it separately that way, because people who are watching the vlog, it's very much more of a gardening experience. There's lots of other bits, but generally it's gardening focused. And also, if I incorporate recipes into the vlog, it makes them very difficult to find. Whereas if there is like a video which is fig, rocket and basil salad or whatever, roast carrots or any of those kind of things of what we've been doing that week, it makes it searchable and you're looking for recipes specific. And I just think it would be much handier to have them as like a standalone video, snippet and then standalone video. And also it means that you know what's coming later in the week. And if you're interested, you can watch it. If you're not interested, you don't watch it. I just think it's going to work better that way. And it's not just going to be random recipes, like one day I'll be doing roast beef, because I don't grow roast beef on the allotment, although I might be growing roast beef crisps soon. That's a good point. But do you know what I mean? It's going to be something which is completely relevant to whatever we've been picking that week, or indeed whatever we've had frozen from the spring or whatever and that I need to use up in the freezer. So it will be allotment relevant, but I'm going to keep them ever so slightly separate. So on either Friday or Saturday for general, and a day earlier, whichever day it is, for patrons, there will be a recipe for how we have used the figs. And in that recipe, it's really nice because obviously the rocket is picked straight from the allotment, the figs are picked straight from the allotment, and so is the basil, which are like the 3 big flavours. And then there's goat's cheese and parma ham and that kind of thing, which are things that I don't grow. But yeah, when there's at least like 4. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week, chaps. So it is cheers. Cheers to the patrons who get the video one day earlier than everybody else. They are the reason that this continues. And cheers to everybody else. Long may this magical weather continue, although those thunderstorms never hit us. I think they're going to come this week instead. Cheers, chaps. See you next week. Actually, no, see you at the end. See you at the end of the week sometime. And next week. I'm waiting for an aeroplane to go past.